Hi everyone, we're into November now of the English Premier League Premiership season. Put together my usual video now, monthly review of the statistics that I use when trading in play. Um, Hope you find it useful, and again, it's just giving you an idea of how maths can give you, or how and analyzing the markets and the data coming in can actually give you that advantage when trading in play. And also, you're looking for opportunities that happen more often than not, so that you can get profit from what you're trading. So have a look, see what you think. Please comment, and we'll go from there. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye. Right then, let's have a look then at what we got for this month. So this is all the games that have been played in August, September, October, and November. So we're up to 14 games played in all. Interesting thing here is that you can see that I've highlighted the top six, or the bit. Sorry, not the top six, the big six: Chelsea, Liverpool, Man U, Man City, Spurs, and Arsenal. And you can see why five of the big six are called that, because they are topping this group. To me, they I think their success is based quite a lot on the way that Mo Farah used to run his 5 and 10,000 metres, i.e., get out in front and make sure nobody overtakes you. These teams are basically understanding that if you score first, you can then control the game, and that breeds success. You can see where Arsenal are at the moment, not quite firing on all cylinders, having to chase the game on far too many times. Have a look at the others as well. As I said before, this can really help you with in-play trading, with looking at what team scores first. Interestingly, you go down to Leicester for the 50%, and then everybody under Leicester is below a 50%. So really, you're only really looking at the top five teams there would actually give you, I feel, any sort of value in terms of trading them and then backing them at the start of the game or before a goal is scored, and then laying after the first goal is scored. So top five teams there would get your profit on that. The 2.5 goals market now. This is done alphabetically, so you can look to see what your team is doing, or whereabouts your team is, or what you feel is an acceptable level of over 2.5 goals. It's a derivative of 1, so if it's 1, that means 100% of the games have been over 2.5 goals. And you can see as well that I do feel it's important to categorise games. So you've got all the games here on the left hand side. In the middle, all these teams when they play the big six, you saw who the big six were on the last size, and then without the big six. Here it's still happening in terms of there's only really two teams, Bournemouth and Southampton, who are actually showing a tendency to score above 2.5 goals in their games on a more often than not basis. Also, if you look at Palace, certainly they are under 2.5 goals more often than not. So, make what you will of the figures that you can see in front of you, but the need to categorise games, or basically categorising games so that you can match it to the game that you're going to trade on, I feel is really important. Expected goals against total goals. This is an interesting graph. Leicester still on the left hand side, still the best side in terms of playing out of their skin, playing above what they're expected to play. The blue is your expected goals, and your brown is the amount of goals that are actually scored. So Leicester are scoring many more goals than what they're expected to. Also, Spurs, Liverpool, Newcastle, they sacked Pochettino with maybe Tottenham. It'll be interesting to see whether this gap grows under Mourinho, and initial impressions are that it will. Newcastle here performing better than what they're expected to. And then you move into the middle here, like I suppose Arsenal and Bournemouth are playing as expected, and I suppose Norwich are as well. And then you move into this side. Man City are beginning to slip further towards the right hand side. Now, that's not necessarily meaning they're a bad side, because you can see they've still got the biggest bar, but they're not scoring all the chances that they are getting. Manchester United as well, over on this side, as they have been for most of the season. They're making the chances, but they're just not taking them. Chelsea as well, they've slipped over this way a little bit, gone off the boil a little bit. Certainly their last game against West Ham didn't go the way that they wanted it to, and the three teams here, Southampton, Everton, Watford, not really performing that well at all and not really taking their chances. Manchester United, even though they're over here, if I was a Man U fan, I wouldn't really be worried, because if you actually look at the amount of goals that they are scoring, what is it? It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th biggest, and also their expected goals is quite high as well. So they're not doing too badly there. It's if you're on the right hand side and your bar is low, then that's when you've got to worry. And at the moment, the indication is, I said this before, I think in my September video, that Watford look as though they are in trouble, and they've just sacked their second manager of the season. This is why I feel they're just not taking their chances. It's their style of play. Right. This is showing, this is the quadrant you want to be in, just here. If you're in this quadrant in the top left, you are scoring above expected when you play at home and when you play away. If you are in this quadrant here, you are playing below expected when you're at home and when you're away. And interestingly, this one here is Man City. So those saying that Liverpool have got a chance to win the league this year, there is some truth to it. Leicester doing very well. This one here is Sheffield United, and this one here is Bournemouth. Sorry, Crystal Palace is there, and there's two dots just here. Sheffield United and Bournemouth are pretty much matching each other. If you're in this quadrant here, that basically means that away from home, away from home you are not above. No, sorry, away from home you are above expected, and when you're actually at home you are below what is expected. So take that for what you will, but basically any team in this quadrant here, in the bottom left hand side, aren't really performing as expected. And here are the goal times. Now this is just something that I want to show you. This is for all games, okay? And the point I'm going to make here is why it's so important to categorise your games. Here you can see that 31 to 40 minutes looks like the time to trade the goal markets, because only about 7% of all goals are being scored at this time. But if you begin to look at it, all games without Big Six, so you can see there's a huge change in the bars. So, and certainly the 31 to 40 here is an opportunity, because less than 6% of the goals are scored at this time. Certainly it looks as though many more of the goals, it doesn't look as though, it is the fact that many more of the goals are being scored in the second half as the game progresses and teams are playing to win. 61 to 70 minutes and 71 to 80 minutes. Basically, if you are trading in the goal market in this time, hoping that it's going to go down, it is a bit of a risk to do that. If you think of it like this, 14% are 61 to 70, and just under 14% are 71 to 80. So roughly that's about 28% of all games, well over a quarter. The goal is coming at this time. So if you're trading the goal market at this time, there's a 1 in 4 chance that it's going to go against you. You don't want that to happen. Why not trade 21 to 30 and 31 to 40, where it's 7 add 4.5. So what's that? That's 11.5. So 11.5%. So that's just under, or sorry, just over a 1 in 10 chance of it actually happening. So that's far better odds than trading between 60 and 80 minutes. I've put in the big six playing each other. Really, the point I'm trying to make here is that there's really no pattern to the goals at the moment. Some of the games have happened, but if you are trading the goal markets in these games, there isn't really any form that's developed yet. Certainly, one interesting thing though is 90 plus minutes, nothing. Okay, so it might be worth taking that little punt when the 90th minute is reached and Betfair's still at say like 1.1 or 1.12, worth taking the punt then. And then you can see what I'm saying about different categories of games throwing up different types of results. When playing against the big six, it just seems like a totally different game. The thing that we can see here is in the first half there doesn't really seem to be any sort of like structure to when the goals go in, whereas in the second half it bump, 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 bump. Okay, it's more and more urgent the need to score a goal, because not many of these games are finishing in draws, or you've got away teams or the lesser team chasing the game. That was certainly evident when Man City played Newcastle the other day. Newcastle managing to score quite late on, I believe it was the 88th minute or something like that, and also Manchester City had gone ahead a couple of minutes beforehand, so there was definitely a late flurry of goals, which does seem typical for this sort of game. So there we are, that's November. Thanks for watching. Certainly I'm having a lot of success in trading that 31 to 40 minute period of the game, looking at the 2.5 goals. It's working quite well for me, and that's purely from analysing all the games mathematically that opportunity has actually come up there. The glare on my glasses isn't as bad now. I've only just realised that's happening. You know, have a look, see what you think. As I said, looking at doing Instagram where I can just do snapshots of the graphs instead of me talking in the background with you looking. But it's going well. I'm pleased, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye.